Triambakam yajamahe sugantim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanam mrityurmukshyamamritat
Hi, this is Amelía and Satya.
Hey everyone, it's Satya, and you're listening to Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda.
Hello, welcome back. This is Amelía speaking, and I'm here with Satya, Raw Priest, for another episode of Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda. Hey, Satya.
Hey, how are you?
I'm feeling fabulous, and I'm excited what's going on right now energetically, and especially since that episode that we last recorded around my date rape diaries. For those of you who haven't heard it, you can go back and listen to it. But something really beautiful is happening. Like I'm just feeling this shedding of old wounds within myself, but I'm also feeling it in the collective. And I'm very aware of the Shakti rising within me, and also within our collective consciousness, and Shakti being that divine, feminine, pure, raw energy that lives in all of us, male and female. And I wanted to talk more about that tonight, because I know you, my dear, are also feeling the Shakti rise, and I thought we could talk about that. Are you game for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm game.
Sweet. Well, let's, I don't know where we should start about it, but, Shakti itself, the way I'm feeling it and the way I'm seeing it being reflected around me is like, it's a boldness of feminine power, like a freedom to be vulnerable and to feel deeply, and to express beauty and to adorn the body, or to like allow the dance and the rhythm and the energy to be flowing and moving through me. And I'm seeing like women around the world really embodying this, where in the past it just seemed so oppressed. And I'm curious if it's just like my own experience of my healing path and of clearing the toxic shame from my life and finding my own liberation, or if are you also like noticing this, and how is it showing up for you?
Yeah. I noticed that I had a friend once that she said that when she never wears makeup, she never dresses up and looks really nice, and she told me that that she didn't, when she did, she felt that the reactions from other women were unpleasant or something. That she didn't like the interaction she had with other women when she, I guess, felt that she looked really good, or that she looked good or something, or better than how she normally looks. And I'll never forget that. And that was, I was living on the East Coast at the time. And so I have a ton of different thoughts about this, because I've gone through phases in my life where I've dressed up a lot, depending on what kind of job I was doing, and then I've gone through phases where, I'm never wearing makeup. I look back at pictures of myself when I was younger, and it wasn't a thing. Like right now, makeup is a thing. Like putting on makeup, it's more of a thing now, I think, than it ever was. And it's almost an art form. And you can almost actually make yourself look like just a completely different person. Some people can do that. Like, I'm not for that. Like, I'm not, uh, but I've been noticing things like that, and I was looking back at some pictures where I feel that I don't feel as beautiful in those photos as I feel now. And I think it is because I'm just doing things differently now, or taking care of myself in a different way. And it doesn't matter which phase I'm in, or that doesn't matter, but it is really nice I've been like in this new phase over the last year and a half, just kind of doing things differently that way. Is that making any sense at all?
It makes perfect sense for me, because I've been noticing it myself. I've always been like a really natural person. I don't like, I never really wore makeup until recently. And I was like, is this because I'm getting older and I'm like trying to cover up the wrinkles or whatever?
Wait, I thought you said I inspired you.
You did. You definitely did. You were like my makeup tutorial queen. But because like I learned to put makeup on that still looks natural, but still helps me. I don't know. It's fun. It's just like an adorning of the body, of the female beauty. Whereas before, I think I looked at it, and this was heavily influenced by my mother, who never wore makeup and made me believe that makeup was for prostitutes, especially lipstick. And I remember my sister in like 8th grade, junior high and high school, she started wearing a lot of makeup. And my mom would literally say, "You look like a prostitute." And she would tell her daughter this. Yeah. And I grew up thinking that my sister was a prostitute, because she would run away all the time. She was like abused in the family. With my mom and her had a horrible relationship. And you know what? This is a total tangent, but feel important to say here. But when my sister got married at like the age of 23, so she was kind of removed from the house as a troubled teen and put in this like a teen recovery program or something, because she just wasn't able to finish high school or stay in school. And anyway, because she was running away all the time and she would drink or whatnot. But I was totally convinced that she was somehow doing this horrible prostitution thing or something. And then she tells me in her 20s, when I was in my early 20s, that she was a virgin. And I got so angry with my mother for like planting those horrible thoughts about my sister in my head. And she was a complete virgin when she got married. She knew nothing about sex. And like, I knew it was true. Like, she told me that she told me she was a virgin with a lot of shame. And I just think it's really fascinating how religious indoctrination and, because I was also ashamed for being a virgin for some reason when I was in high school, because I remember all my other friends were having sex and I wasn't. And I was like, maybe I'll just pretend like I have. But makeup and somehow was connected to being sexually promiscuous. And I even had a woman who's like in her 50s recently tell me that she can't wear lipstick because she feels like it pulls too much attention. And I thought that was really fascinating. Like everyone stares at her when she wears it, like she's too beautiful and it's too much for everyone else. So she just humbles herself, like she just won't wear it.
Wow. I think there's a lot of that kind of energy going on. I think that unconsciously, I think it's there for a lot of us, for everyone, whether we realize it or not. I really do. Which is why, if you are in a phase where, where you're exploring with these kinds of things, it does kind of feel like, oh, am I, am I doing too? I have thought that, and about different people that I've seen, or different cultures, or, and then it depends, I guess, maybe it could be age too. I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like in Iran, it's illegal to wear lipstick.
Oh, for
like
goodness
women go to
sakes.
jail. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. And then I remember a friend of mine used to always talk about how lipstick was designed by the kind of same dark forces that created the sex industry, and the way lipstick is in the canister is all phallic, and how it was all about like proselytizing women.
Oh, golly gee. Well, now I just want to go back to her not wearing any makeup.
Well, what I think is great when, this whole Shakti Unleashed feeling is that women are sort of reclaiming things. Like, okay, so maybe lipstick was designed in this modern day capacity lipstick, because I know ancient women used to tint their lips and stuff with natural dyes and beautify with plant-based coloring, and that still happens in some tribal communities. But I think, regardless of how it's been brought to us through the cosmetic industry, which, is part of the whole corporate conglomeration of dark energy on the planet, like we're sort of like, okay, well, now how do we want to interact with it? And I feel that there's like a new found freedom where, I don't know, I think as sisters we're banding together, and there's like a beauty and a sweetness and an allowance that I'm feeling that I've never felt before very recently. And
and that's the good stuff right there, because in us, in the Shakti Rising and the feminine really claiming our own beauty or sensuality, allowing ourselves to be beautiful without feeling shamed or feeling like, what will somebody think about this? And all of that, I just feel like there was a day, thousands of years ago, where we could be fully beautiful. We probably just walked around naked, and it was, and we could be seen as beautiful, but things just didn't have that little extra twist in them, that little extra.
And where women like supported each other's beauty instead of ripped it apart and compared and jealously attacked one another. And I feel there's a shift happening. Like, it's really palpable for me. And I know it must be because I've been doing so much of my own work, but I think it's true for so many people. Like, we're healing that sisterhood. Like, we're reminded of the essence of the feminine energy and how connected and loving and beautiful it is. And letting go of the nastiness that has plagued so many of our sisters and men.
Yeah, it's really tricky, and I'm sure that people experience these feelings all the time. Like yesterday, actually, so the whole makeup thing I've been really getting into, because my daughter is a teenager, and she's a natural beauty, as you know, and she wears sensible, nice makeup, and she kind of taught me, how to do it. But I asked her for Christmas to get me this super dark purple. It's almost like a vampire looking color, and I haven't worn that in a very, 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 very long time. And so she got it for Christmas, because we had an early Christmas this year. We just exchanged our presents yesterday, and so I wore it last night out to dinner and to see a very popular Broadway play now that's playing in San Francisco. And I noticed that I was kind of conscious, like, I wonder what somebody thinks when they see this very dark, vampire looking, or how is it making my lips look too big? Is it, but so even that, and I would like to just be able to just wear it and not even have those thoughts, you know?
I know, but it's been so programmed. You know, different color, like red lipstick. And I see it's
Oh
coming
my
back.
goodness.
Like
Yeah.
people are getting more bold wearing red lipstick. And I even saw a 6-year-old little girl the other day wearing red lipstick.
Oh my gosh. See, that even freaks me out.
It kind of freaked a lot of people out. I saw a bunch of people in the restaurant where she was walking around. She had her hair like braided back, and she was wearing, you know, her like skinny jeans and her little t-shirt, and she had her purse like over one shoulder, and she had a little bow in her hair and this bright red lipstick, and she was like working the room.
Oh goodness. Oh
And
goodness.
there was a lot of women like in horror at this thing. And for the first time, I saw it slightly differently. I mean, sure, I was concerned, and I kind of had that initial reaction like, oh my God, what mother would let their 6-year-old wear the red lipstick?
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time I had that thought, I also felt like this little girl, of course she doesn't, like, she's just wanting to adorn herself and be beautiful. Mm-hmm. And, you know, mind you, I'm in Mexico, and this is a Hispanic family. Like, it's just different, you know. It seemed innocent. Like, I didn't immediately think, okay, she's being molested at home, and it could be that she is, I don't know, but it didn't seem like that. It just felt like she's a little girl who's playing with color and lipstick and wants to be grown up, you know, and she's working it. She's
and of course the color red is
energy.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
But she was holding the room. You know, it was fascinating. I'm like, that's pure Shakti right there. And I remember when I was 6 years old, my mom she made me and my sister have boy haircuts. Like, we weren't allowed to have long hair. And she said it was because she didn't like to brush it, or that we would complain. And it was the 80s, 70s and 80s, you know, when that kind of Dorothy Hamill cut was popular.
Yeah.
Very, kind of neutral, whatever. It was a weird haircut. I hated it. And people would sometimes think that I was a little boy because I wasn't allowed to dress like a girl, because my mom had to keep us looking really plain. And I'm sure she was doing it because she was sexually abused as a kid. And I think she was trying to keep us, you know, safe and not sexualize us as young girls. But there was a part of me that was like, I want to play with makeup. You know, I want to get dressed up. I want long hair. I want braids and ponytails and bows in my hair, but it wasn't allowed. Like, we weren't allowed to dance. We weren't allowed to wear makeup. And I think that's why my sister rebelled so strongly in junior high. And she just started like coloring her hair by herself without permission and getting into crazy makeup. And of course, back then in the 80s, it was like caking it on.
It was caking it on, or just not wearing any at all or something. Yeah. And I remember when the like quote spiritual or yoga type community, like when it started, it would have been a very bad thing to wear makeup, or a kind of like oh, why are you wearing makeup kind of thing. But now it's accepted completely to wear something, like even just a little bit. Did you notice that? Have you noticed that?
I did. Well, I noticed it with myself. Like, all of a sudden I'm allowing myself to wear it and enjoying it, thanks to you and Rowan. But I feel like it's not the dark, horrible, evil enemy anymore. It's sort of like, oh, let's beautify. Why not? Like, I'm feeling safe, I guess is what I'm saying. For the first time. And that makes me think that we've healed something collectively, for me to feel safe. Wearing makeup and I'm noticing it for a lot of people who were like me and you, where we were more natural and not really getting into the whole makeup thing.
Right. I think it would just be nice to have some innocence around all of it and just be able to do that, wear it or not wear it, and just feel great about either thing. And I mean, even, you know, clothing and stuff. I mean, I think maybe, I don't know if it was because of the 80s or what, but all the big huge clothes, and I was very voluptuous, and I almost felt like I couldn't show certain things, or oh goodness, I can't. And I was raised in a little town. Meanwhile, there was another culture of people that could like wear really tight things. And you know, there was an idea that if you're wearing something really tight or body shaping, that it you know, that you must be you know what, a slut basically, or something like that. And I mean, that's, you know, and now that I'm more just, you know, mature, and now I'm kind of like, look, I have some nice curves, and I'm going to wear something that fits me nicely, because when I don't wear something that fits me nicely, I basically look horrible and I don't look good, you know? And
I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'd been hiding for so damn long, and I'm like, wait, hold up, you know, well, hold up a second. Like, all these other people, you know, or other cultures, I feel, or whatever, just are wearing anything and everything. And, you know, but I can't, or I feel like I can't. I don't know where I got that message or whatever. And
from the church, and this like white man's shaming.
Yes. Yeah, actually, yes. And that has happened for sure in my family. And yeah, or the thought that like a man can't control himself, or will think that you know, want to give this to him. It's like, wait, what? This is how God made me, you know, not that, I mean, I know that there's gotta be some kind of, I mean, line to that, or maybe there are people who abuse that or whatever. But I mean, I don't know how to put words to all of that. But I actually had a friend come and visit me a few weeks ago, and she even said something like we'd not been hanging out for a couple of years, and I noticed that she was wearing like huge boxy things, and I was wearing something, you know, that just yeah. And she was like, is everything okay? And I was like,
oh, she did?
Yes. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh my God. So what was she thinking? That you were like too provocatively dressed? It was making her uncomfortable or something?
Maybe. Well, she actually said something about like, you know, I thought maybe it was because of your, you know, semi-new relationship, and that you like maybe he wants you to be eye candy, and he wants you to dress like this. Like, and I was like, oh my Lord God, if you only knew, it could not be like more opposite of that. Like, I'm like, no, that's not it. It's not it. It's just that here I am.
I think there is something about like being in your 40s, and finally, I've seen this with women. When I was in my 30s and 20s and I knew 40-year-olds, I always thought 40-year-old women were so beautiful. And I remember telling a 40-year-old woman at a workshop once, like, wow, you are so stunningly beautiful. I cannot stop staring at you. And she told me, I never forgot this. She said, you know what? Thank you for saying that. And I can finally accept my beauty. And I never could before.
Yes.
And she was just like owning her beauty. And I remember we were in the female bathroom, and there was probably like 20 women in there, and all 20 of us women were complimenting this older woman, you know, she was in her 40s, but to us. And she was like kind of giving words of wisdom to us 20 and 30-year-olds. And she was like, no, it took me so long to accept my beauty, and I finally accept it. And I finally feel like I landed in my body, and I can actually receive your compliment and say, thank you. I feel beautiful. And I know from like knowing you and us being like pretty much the same age and being in our mid 40s, it's like, oh my God, I finally can accept my body the way it is. and
Mm-hmm.
I'm finally like comfortable in it. I'm not holding all this shame and guilt about looking too good in some instances or not good enough, or like hiding, or there's just been so much social pressuring about how to dress and conditioning and what the dress means and if you're going to get raped. And I think it's finally like, we don't give a shit. We're just dressing for our own, I don't know, style, beautification, feeling of the
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. I mean, I remember back in the day, I was I worked for this center. It was a sexual assault, domestic violence center, and I did a lot of work around all of those subjects. And I actually, at the time, I think I was in my master's program for psychology, and I was working there, and I would go around and I would give like speeches to or educate or lecture at the university, and also in emergency rooms with doctors, and at the police department, and in high schools. And
I'm sure you had to be really careful about what you were wearing.
well, yeah, well, there was that. I was, yeah, well, there was that. But what I was actually going to say is that there, at the time, there was this court case that had just happened, and a woman had, had been raped, and it was brought up then, and I don't know how it goes now. I think I don't know if it's any better now. I don't think it is, but apparently what she was wearing, right, was, or like
Mm-hmm.
Jodie Foster in that movie, The Accused, well, if she's wearing, a certain thing, that must mean this or that. And I guess, it's too bad when somebody is wearing something. I mean, I'm not saying like walk out naked or whatever, but even if you did walk out naked, you don't deserve to be raped, and nobody, has the right to make your walking out of the house naked about, oh, this person must want to have sex with me. Oh, I am going to now, like, this person is obviously selling themselves to me. Like, when does that twist happen? And that's where, to me, the disturbance is in our programming. It's like how it's been twisted to that degree.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And also, like, I think something that you and I both share is like whatever voluptuousness we have. If you wear something form-fitting, like for me, you were talking about like wearing baggy clothes, or I look short and stocky and frumpy and dumpy. I feel horrible wearing baggy clothes. Like I feel like I don't know, it's just not flattering at all for my, right. So I prefer to wear like more form-fitting clothes. And somehow we're supposed to know that like wearing form-fitting clothes is somehow too exciting for other people's behavioral conditioning or issues. And that part has always boggled me. Like, how come I can't be comfortable? Like somehow I have to change who I am instead of the other person changing and checking their own behavioral response.
Right.
Does that did I say, I don't even know if that made sense, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Like you're very well endowed. So like if you were wearing like a form-fitting t-shirt or a tank top, like then the man's thinking like, oh, she's showing that to me. That's all for me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And it's so
like if I wear yoga,
messed up.
They're like, oh, she's trying to show off her ass. I'm like, no, really, I just am more comfortable in yoga pants than big baggy
Right. And you have a fantastic ass. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it is too bad. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times in my life, like I've seen just a person with like average size, breasts, like walking down the street and wearing a certain kind of shirt and they, look, it looks great. Nobody would ever look at them and say like, oh man, well, that person's a slut, but if I wear that same shirt and because it's in fashion
you can't, it's too mesmerizing. It's like, oh,
right. So I am automatically in slut category, just automatically here I am over
for
here.
How you were born in your physical skin.
Right. And I mean, yes, I'm very well endowed. And believe it or not, I have the smallest boobs in my entire family. So to me, I'm like, hey, no, it's okay.
Oh my God. Like, can't the female form just be totally celebrated instead of objectified?
Yeah, it's like, man,
if a man takes his shirt off and he happens to be muscular and women were just like clawing on him, I mean, I guess they must have that to some degree, but it's
free the nipple. Yeah, that whole movement.
I want to talk about freeing the nipple. Like, I used to never wear a bra. I don't really, I'm super flat chested or small breasted, and I never wore a bra because I never needed to or even like thought about it. It just seemed stupid to wear a bra. And I was working in Japan with the Japanese businessmen, and I noticed that they always would just stare at my chest when they talked to me.
Oh, goodness.
And get really excited. And one time a like 70-year-old man just like grabbed my breast and started like, he just like grabbed my breast in a park. And I was like, what is going on? And then I realized I was reading a book about doing business with Japanese men, and it said like Western women should wear bras. And I was like, if you're a size B, you need to wear a bra. Like, okay, I get if you're like C or D and you're kind of, more well endowed that you need the support. I thought bras were mainly for the support of your back. Like, I didn't know I needed to like cover my nipples.
Right.
And I noticed that I couldn't even buy, like in Japan, the only bras you can buy are padded.
Wow. And that was that in a time when pads weren't available here yet, or because
like we didn't have padded bras in the US at that time. It was the 90s. And and so then I started wearing padded bras. Like, I had to cover the nipple. I just like it was weird. Like, I went the other way around where most people are like burning their bras now and like, oh, I'm free. I completely was like, oh my God. And I got mortified when I realized that was somehow shameful. Because I was like, how is that shameful? Like, I don't even have breasts, like, why are they looking at my breast? I just like, yeah, it was really, really fascinating. So I guess it depends on the culture.
It does.
But I know we're at time, and maybe we need to bring some of this into our next episode. But thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode. Satya, do you want to tell them where to find us?
No, you tell them.
Okay, so if you guys have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out. You can find us at lovesexagenda.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, Love Sex Agenda. Please reach out. Let us know if you enjoy the show. Like us, subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye.
Bargo devasya dilahi.
Thanks for hanging out with us. If you'd like to contact us and stay in touch with us, you can find us at lovesexagenda.com. That's lovesexagenda.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda.
Bhargo devasya dhimahi, Dhiyo yo na prachodayate.